Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back. It's been a little bit. I'm excited to get back here working on this truck. It's been kind of a crazy 2 weeks. I was just on vacation for a week. The last video I put out about putting a lift on my mower, that was some content I've had for a little bit, just kind of been sitting on it and waiting. But that was a fun little quick project to put together to test out a new computer I picked up. I finally went over to Mac. I converted from Windows to Mac and spent all vacation trying to figure out really where the left button was. So getting all the programs loaded back on, getting all the software set up, some of the things react differently, some of them were updated. So it's been kind of a crazy 2 weeks. I want to do a quick catch up to where we are because I've got some truck parts in finally, and I want to get back on this truck in the rear end. That's kind of our next step. And so I want to just show you a couple of things here that I've picked up recently. First thing was this little Harbor Freight Apache case. It's the smallest thing. It's so cute. It's cute. It's just small. Anyway, it's perfect for my GoPro and my battery charger and stuff. I've been throwing this thing around in the car and thought, well, for $5 because it was on sale, I get a little case to take it in. That's not the important stuff though. I also went shopping. So we got a new laptop. We got a little case for my my camera. But we went shopping recently on 4th of July actually. Drove up to Maryland and picked up some parts off of Facebook Marketplace. There's a air suspension group that I found some parts on. So I want to show you what those are. Picked up the Airlift. This is the 3P setup. So we've got the valves here. Comes with a water valve. Got some cables, some converters from 1/2 inch to 3/8. We've got all the wiring along with relays for secondary compressor, and got the remote. So we'll be able to preset some heights in this truck once we're done, customize all 4 corners. So that is a big thing. I ended up getting all of this stuff for about $1,000. And then a friend of mine, I stopped on the way home in DC area, and a friend of mine had some Air compressors that he used previously on his car. They need a little bit of work, but we're gonna plug them in, see if they work. He's got some little relays here as well. But he said they were functioning. He took these out because he went with 1 compressor instead of the 2. But I think for this truck, I want to be able to have all the options. And anyway, 2 compressors should work out pretty well. So the only thing I'm missing at this point is a tank. I need a tank, but I got to get the back end set up. So we're going to get back on the back end, but we got these shocks in. These have been sitting in my basement. These are the ones that come with the Thorbros 5-link kit. So these are the KYB. He says he customizes them, and I think he welds on this top piece up here to be able to work with his kit specifically. So we got 2 of those. These are for the rear. And anyway, we reorganized our basement. Those have been laying down there in a box of parts. I've got panels for the cab, floor panel. I got all kinds of parts in the basement, so I finally remembered where those were, and we need to get those seated down in here. Here we go. Sorry about that. Yeah, so it looks like if this thing comes all the way up, it's going to hit my placement of this shock tower, obviously right here in the middle, which is not good. However, now I got to decide if I'm willing to, if I need that extra bit of clearance, or if I put bump stops in here, you know, inside the C-notch, so that it keeps this thing away from hitting this bar, which allows me to keep this height the same all the way across and not have to raise it up even higher to get over these shock humps. And as much as I want to go as low as possible, I'm kind of more interested in keeping as much of my bed as possible. Alright guys, I gotta pause for a second. I gotta clean all this stuff up. We got the top shock tower tacked in place, and I'll be right back, and we're gonna be working on the bottom. Alright, and we're back now. And after some dinner, I came up with a huge realization that I'm overthinking this. I'm gonna walk you through in just a second what I figured out. But I found a bag as I was looking for some bolts. This bag here, which tells me why I was having so many problems getting the differential cover on. It has these nice brackets stamped with 7.5, if you can see that there. And these answer a huge question right here. So I wedged this thing in between the differential and the cover because it didn't make sense how else to do it. But if we take these things, if we put the cover on like normal, take these things, stick them here, put his piece on the very outside, and then the bolts that he supplied with it, it should all fit back in nice and normal, only require one seal, not leak, and be great. That's the first thing I'm going to do. Alright, I think we got the differential done properly. I wouldn't say torqued to spec, but torqued around. Got the Y-shaped piece back on. Let's move back to these rear bags now and see if we can put our brain to work back here. Alright, so what I did is I took this piece, I set it so that this edge was pretty much flush with the outside of the frame on either end, and then eyeballed where the back end bushings were going to sit into here. Have those straight going forward. Then I can take this piece, I can set it down over top, and since it's going to sit outside of the frame, and kind of wiggle it down there, center it up. And I'm using the 2 airbag holes as my centering points. You should be able to see both mounting holes. We got the trusty ruler. I'm going to measure from the outsides of the back of the brakes into where these live, and I'm going to find a happy medium for where they need to be. So they're both roughly 9.5 right where they live, which makes sense. If you can line up the backs and the middles, you should be good on the other end, but 9.5 seems like a pretty good place. We've got these guys, which have their bushings in them. These are going to come in directly underneath. And so now what I can do is get down underneath. I can line this thing up. I can scribe a line so I know where this thing needs to be, and I can tack these in place and then keep rolling. Alright, so we got these guys tacked in, you know, literally just barely in place there. I don't want to put too much pressure on them, but it's a start for the day. Got some more progress done, and now I've got a game plan. I just keep coming back. Once we get apparently the rear in place, then I can also mentioned this before, but I can take these guys, measure them out to be the same distance. This will end up determining the pinion angle, but I can set those the same place. They've got some caps that get welded on as well, so we'll get that at a later point. But right now we're started. Yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm excited because this thing's starting to come together. Just seeing it move earlier with the bags in the front again, just to get the stuff from underneath it. It's just rejuvenating. And anyway, that's it for today. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.